My name is Vera Westbrook. I'm 28 years old, and 7 days before my wedding, I discovered that my own mother had canceled every single vendor, the flowers, the catering, the venue, and called my fiancé to tell him I was damaged goods, that marrying me would be the biggest mistake of his life. On our wedding day, 200 guests arrived at an empty lot, but my maid of honor had seen this coming 6 months earlier. What she planned and what my mother walked into changed everything. Nathan proposed on a Tuesday evening in our tiny kitchen in Ridge Hill, Georgia. No fancy restaurant, no ring hidden in dessert. Just him holding a ring he'd saved 7 months for, saying, "I don't have a speech. I just know I want every morning to start with you." I said yes before he finished the sentence. We sat on the kitchen floor afterward, my back against the cabinets, his arm around me. For 11 minutes, the world was exactly right. Then my phone rang. Mom. Not congratulations, not a gasp. Her first words were, "The wedding, where are you having it? I need to know now." I should explain something. My whole life, every decision I ever made passed through my mother first. When my father died, I was 19. She pulled me close at the funeral and whispered, "It's just us now. You're all I have." From that day forward, saying no to her felt like abandoning a widow. So when I gently told her we wanted to plan the wedding ourselves, she went quiet. 4 seconds. I counted them. "Fine," she said. "I understand. You don't need me anymore." My chest tightened instantly. "Of course I need you. I want you to help." I heard her exhale, satisfied. Across the kitchen, Nathan's jaw shifted slightly, the way it does when he's holding something back. That phone call was the first move in a game my mother had been waiting years to play. By 3 months after the engagement, she had taken over everything. First a few vendor calls. Then she showed up to tastings without telling me. Then she changed my contact information on the florist's account to her own number. I wanted wildflowers, sunflowers, lavender, baby's breath. My mother ordered white roses. I wanted pulled pork and cornbread. People will talk. I wanted Nathan's family up front. She rearranged the seating chart so her friends filled the first 4 rows. When I pushed back, the only way I knew how, gently, she cried right there in our living room, tissue already in hand. "I'm just trying to make this beautiful for you. Your father would have wanted it this way." And I folded every time. One evening, my best friend Rachel, my maid of honor since 8th grade, watched my mother rearrange my centerpiece choices without a word. But at the door, she grabbed my arm. "I need you to trust me on something. Don't ask questions yet." She squeezed my hand and left. 2 months before the wedding, my mother invited Nathan to lunch, just the 2 of them. He came home that afternoon and sat across from me, folded his hands. "Your mother told me you had a breakdown in college." She used the phrase, "damaged goods." She said, "My daughter needs someone who can handle her. Can you, really?" After my father died, I'd gone through a dark stretch my sophomore year. I saw a counselor. I worked through it. It wasn't a secret, but it was never ammunition. "What did you say?" I whispered. "I said I don't see damage. I see someone who survived you." Something cracked open in my chest. Not pain, something warmer. She left after that, didn't finish her iced tea. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. She told me Nathan was isolating me, that carpenters had no ambition, that my father had been a real man. I sat in that kitchen caught between 2 versions of the truth. My mother's, where she was protecting me, and the real one, where she was trying to make sure I never left. 6 weeks before the wedding, my mother started working the town. Ridge Hill has a population of 4,000. A rumor doesn't travel here. It teleports. Within 48 hours, she'd seeded every coffee counter and church parking lot with the same story. Vera is fragile. Nathan is a mistake. The wedding shouldn't happen. I felt it everywhere. Sideways glances at the post office, Patty at the salon leaning close to the mirror. "Honey, your mama stopped by, said things aren't going well at home." That Thursday, a text from Rachel. "Don't react to anything your mom does this week. Trust me." I typed back, "You're scaring me." Her reply, "Good. Scared means you're paying attention." 7 days before the wedding, I called the florist from my desk during lunch. A routine confirmation. "Ma'am, that order was canceled 3 days ago. Your mother called. She said the wedding was off." I hung up, called the caterer. "We received the cancellation Thursday." Hung up, called the venue. "Mrs. Diane Westbrook called and canceled the reservation." I sat at my desk staring at my phone and felt the ground beneath me dissolve. I called my mother. She picked up on the first ring. "Mom, you canceled my wedding." "I canceled a mistake." "That was not your decision." "Everything about you is my decision, Vera." Her voice was flat, certain. "I raised you. I buried your father alone. This wedding is mine to give or take." Something shifted inside me, not anger, something colder, something that had been sleeping for 28 years and had just opened its eyes. "No," I said, "it isn't." I hung up, hands still shaking, but my voice had been steady, and that surprised me more than anything she'd said. That night, Nathan found me on the kitchen floor back against the dishwasher, bag still on my shoulder. He sat down beside me without asking. The refrigerator hummed. "She canceled everything," I said, 3 days ago, behind my back. "We'll figure this out." He called Rachel. She listened then. "Don't call any vendor. Don't call your mother. Give me 48 hours. 5 days before the wedding, Rachel appeared at our door with a manila folder. She sat at our kitchen table and opened it. "The day your mom took over the vendor calls 6 months ago, I started making backup plans." She pulled out a signed contract. "Elmwood Garden Estate, a private property 12 minutes from Ridge Hill," signed in her name. A $2,000 deposit, her own money. "You'd do the same for me," she said before I could speak. "Wildflowers, exactly what I'd originally chosen. Big Jim's smokehouse. Pulled pork, cornbread, sweet tea, mason jars." Nathan let out a short laugh, the first one I'd heard from him in weeks. Total cost, $6,500, already covered. The morning of the wedding, she'd text all 200 guests the new address, framed as a surprise. "And my mother?" I asked. "She gets the original address, only the original address." Wedding morning. By 10 a.m., 197 guests had confirmed the new location. I put on my dress, ivory, tea-length, lace sleeves, $60 at a consignment shop. My mother had called it secondhand embarrassment. I called it mine. Uncle Tom arrived at 1:30, eyes already red. "Lord Vera, you look like your daddy on his wedding day, stubborn and beautiful." Rachel looked at me. "Ready?" "I've been ready for 28 years. Elmwood Garden Estate sat at the end of a gravel lane lined with pecan trees. Beyond the white gate, a rolling lawn edged with wildflower beds. Sunflowers, lavender, baby's breath. The flowers I'd chosen, the flowers my mother had replaced. Rachel had brought them back. Fairy lights hung between 2 ancient live oaks. Down the center aisle stood wooden chairs Nathan had built himself, one every weekend over the past year while I thought he was just staying busy. He'd been building our wedding without me knowing. At 3 o'clock, Uncle Tom took my arm. Military firm, but his hand was trembling. Slow steps. Make it count. A guitar began. Nathan's friend, Caleb, sitting on a stool under the live oak, playing a finger-picked version of the song we danced to on our first date. Nathan stood at the end of the aisle, hands clasped, eyes red, not hiding it. He never hides anything from me. When it was my turn for vows, I didn't read from a card. "I choose you not because I need to be saved, but because I finally know I deserve to be loved without conditions." I looked at him. I don't need permission to be happy. Not anymore. Nathan's hand found mine. We were pronounced married under the live oaks, and 197 people rose to their feet. 12 minutes away, my mother drove to the original venue at 3:15. Navy blue dress, pearl earrings. Not dressed for grief, dressed for victory. She stepped out and looked around. Empty lot, no tent, no flowers, no guests. She pulled out her phone, called me, voicemail, called Rachel, voicemail, called Gloria Cole, Nathan's cousin Danny, Mrs. Henderson, voicemail after voicemail after voicemail. She stood in the middle of that empty field, turning in a slow circle. The cicadas were loud, and she was completely, utterly alone. Eventually, Nathan's distant cousin Bev, 74, hard of hearing, probably missed the memo, picked up. "Oh, Diane, didn't you get the message? Wedding's at Elmwood Garden now, pretty place out on Whitfield Lane." 25 minutes later, her silver sedan crunched up the gravel lane. She could hear the music, the laughter, the smoky sweetness of barbecue drifting through the Georgia air. A man stood at the entrance. Kyle, Rachel's friend. 6'2", calm-faced, clipboard in hand. "Good afternoon, ma'am. May I see your invitation?" "I'm the mother of the bride." Kyle looked down at his list, scanned it carefully, looked up. "I'm sorry, ma'am. Your name isn't on the guest list." Through the gate, she could see the chairs Nathan built, the wildflowers, the mason jars catching the fading light. She could see the back of my dress, Nathan's arm around my waist. Everything she had tried to destroy was right there, alive, whole and glowing. Her voice rose, first measured, then sharp, then raw. Several guests near the gate turned. Then my mother saw the camera. Maggie Coulter from WRDG-TV, red light on. She froze. The tears she could summon on command stopped. She looked at that lens the way a deer looks at headlights. Then she turned around, walked to her car, got in, and drove away. She didn't look back. Inside the garden, I was dancing. I didn't file charges. I didn't sue. But Rachel had saved every voicemail, every email, every screenshot, where my mother had signed my name to cancellations she had no right to make. The vendors reviewed the evidence. The florist refunded $2,200. The caterer returned $4,800, $7,000 back. Not everything, but enough to breathe. 1 week after the wedding, Maggie's segment aired on the 6 o'clock news. She kept it tasteful, never named my mother directly, but in a town of 4,000, subtraction is identification. Within 3 days, the ripples had spread. The Women's Auxiliary asked my mother to take a leave of absence. Patty at the salon told her to talk to a professional. The Sunday potluck invitations stopped arriving. My mother's currency had always been her reputation. That currency was now worthless. I wrote her a letter by hand, 3 drafts before I got it right. "Mom, I love you. I need you to know that first, because the rest of this will be hard to read. You canceled my wedding. You told my fiancé I was damaged goods. You told the town I was mentally ill. That was a lie. I don't hate you for it. But I can't pretend it didn't happen. I think you've been afraid since Dad died, afraid that if I build my own life, there won't be room for you in it. There is room. There will always be room. But not like this. The door opens from my side now, not yours. I love you, Mom. But love without boundaries isn't love. It's captivity. Vera." I gave the letter to Uncle Tom. He read it standing in his doorway, then folded it carefully and looked at me. "Your father would have written the same thing." 3 months later, our house is small. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a porch that needs repainting. 3 guests who saw Nathan's hand-built chairs at the reception reached out with custom furniture orders. His workshop now has a 3-month wait list. Gloria Cole and I have dinner every other Sunday. Last week, she handed me the family peach cobbler recipe, handwritten on a card so old the ink is fading. "Family recipe goes to family," she said. Uncle Tom tells me my mother started seeing a therapist. Went twice, quit. Went back. Quit again. Went back a third time. She's trying, Tom says. Slowly. Slowly is fine, I tell him. 6 months after the wedding, I come home on a Tuesday to find a cream-colored envelope on the porch. Hand-delivered. No return address. My name and handwriting I'd recognize anywhere. No letter inside. Just a single pressed wildflower. A black-eyed Susan dried between 2 sheets of wax paper. The flower I chose for my wedding. The flower my mother replaced. The flower Rachel brought back. I don't know if it's an apology. I don't know if it's a goodbye. I don't call her. I'm not ready. Maybe she isn't either. I carry the flower inside and lean it against our wedding photo on the bookshelf. Nathan and me under the live oaks, fairy lights, wildflowers everywhere. Nathan comes in from the workshop, sawdust on his forearms. He sees me standing there. You okay? Yeah, I turn around. I'm good. Through the kitchen window, the late afternoon sun pours across the backyard. A mockingbird somewhere in the pecan tree. My name is Vera Westbrook Cole. I'm 29 now, and for the first time, my life is mine.